So, good morning, everyone. This morning, we're going to be looking at sales planning and marketing planning. And we've even got a cheeky little extra called a sales funnel checklist. But this is very much about you sitting down and doing, as opposed to sitting down, exploring, talking, and listening. And so, what we're going to be doing this morning is having a session of just enjoying sharing our ideas together as we go through the tables. And we must sort of give a shout out to Rachel Bedgood, because she started this process of using just a very simple table to just get out the ideas. And her ideas at the time, she was telling us she put a plan together of a LinkedIn strategy that was going to go from zero to add in another, I think it was 2 or 3 million into the turnover. And you think sometimes, oh gosh, this is going to involve a really long-winded strategy. And when she showed us her plan, it was really a version of this where it was a table, and it was very much about pledging to oneself and the team what it was that was going to be aimed for, and coming up with some very simple action points to get there. So I'm going to be taking us through the tables. So I'm going to switch into sharing my screen in order for us to slip into a presentation that we've got here on already prepared here on Canva. So we're going to present and present. So can everyone see the screen? Are we all good to go? Fantastic. So as I said, this is about you creating your sales and marketing plan. It's not about strategy. We've already covered strategy. This is very much about saying, okay, I'm making my mind up now, and this is what I'm going to do. I understand who my audience is. I understand who my customer base is. And I'm getting down to business and actually starting to do stuff. So this is where we're kicking off from. So looking back at the work we did with Rachel just before Christmas, she became really clear about what her financial goals were for this plan. And so it's very much thinking about, okay, if you're working on multiple businesses, obviously the businesses will need a multiple of these plans, because this is almost like a plan and checklist. So I know a lot of people really struggle with getting to that point where they're saying, this is what I want to turn over next year. But it's really important you understand this is what you're going to turn over, because it's going to reflect in how you market the business. So say, for example, give you an example, I was working in a very large production company who were making almost like the equivalent of a competitor washing machine to the Dyson, and we're talking about 15 years ago. And so you had the marketing team saying, we're going to make this amount of money, and then in comes the production guy saying, we can't make that many machines. So it's being really clear about, in a practical way, what are your financial goals? What are they? And then based on that, let's look at the other stuff. So can we do a quick round robin? So what are people's financial goals for 2024? And what are going to be the costs associated with those financial goals? We've all watched Dragon's Den, where they say, we turned over this, and you're thinking, oh, fantastic. And we made a £240,000 loss. And you think, what? Yeah? How did you find that? Is that a business? Or is that just a big hole in the ground where you throw money in? Yeah, what is going on there? So I'd love to know in 2024 what your financial goals are. So can we start with you, Lorna? Have you got that number yet? Oh, you're on mute, Lorna. So can everyone come off mute, because we're all going to chip in and share our ideas. So over to you, Lorna. What do you think is holding you back from putting a sort of stake in the ground to say, these are our financial goals?
What's holding me back? I think it's just, to be honest with you, it's just putting the time aside to dedicate myself to this planning.
Yeah.
that I think now that we've got everything else, we've had our year of development. This is, what we've been doing. We've got the studios I mentioned earlier. For me now, it's just stopping and taking the time to establish this.
Yeah. And it's really interesting at this stage, because this morning I've been working on developing the Iron Woman dragons. And I don't know if you know, but we had this year we'll be going out with our Iron Woman dragons. It's only for Iron Woman members. It's not a publicity thing. It's only for our Iron Woman members, and you'll be invited to pitch to the dragons. And they're pretty heavy hitters. So you've got somebody like Ray now started her business with an ironing board from a shed in the garden, who recently sold out at about 3.5 million, and she's a dragon. And then you start looking at Natasha again, Raina and Natasha from Bridgend. Natasha's story is, her husband left her, she found she was pregnant, lost her job in a very short time. And within about 3-4 years, she's turned over 4 million from online learning. And we have Rachel, as you know Rachel's story. She didn't have the funding to start, and some great introductions got her. I think Rachel's on about 8 million now. And we got Sarah, who again joined Iron Woman some 8 years ago, as a data scientist and set up a business, and 8-9 years later, she's now turning over maybe 3 million, employee-owned company. So imagine having somebody of those heavy hitters on your side, in your corner, with all the contacts and resources that they have. If you had somebody like that in your corner, on your side, what would be your financial goals? Would they be different to perhaps how you're thinking about them now? Is it that you're almost like afraid to pull in somebody who's almost going to take you to the edge of the cliff and say, fly? And you say, no, I want to hold on to the tree. I'm not going. Yeah. So what is it, what could your financial goals be? Is it you that's holding back the growth or the potential in your business if you have the right support? So say, for example, I'm just going to pick on you basically, yeah, what I normally do. So Lynn, I know you're looking at putting your learning online, yeah? And I know, look,
Yeah.
you're looking at putting your learning online, and knowing the trajectory that Natasha has had with her online learning, to go from a standing start to 3-4 years later, turning over 4 million, how would that be if you had the right people in your corner? Like you've got Lisa, who does all the techie stuff, you've got all the techie stuff covered. And if you were being pointed in the right direction of how to do this stuff, come on, let's stretch. What could these financially, what could your financial goals be? Yeah. And let's get some numbers up. Yeah. Because the costs with online learning are quite minimal in comparison to the turnover potential. Am I right, Lisa? Perhaps you can sort of chip in here.
Um, I think it's like service-based businesses. I think obviously, you know, people when they say like turnover now, it's usually a lot higher for service-based businesses because we haven't got so much outgoings and things like that. I was speaking to my friend's husband on the weekend, and he's run his own business for the last 3 years. And it's very similar to what you said about the dragons thing earlier. But he was telling me that they folded the business because they've taken 3.5 million in 3 years, but they've only made 50 grand.
Yeah.
So do you know what I mean? But like obviously that's in the construction industry, so they had a lot of costs going out and stuff like that. But it isn't just that like number, that's what I need. It is like what's going out, all that type of stuff. And I think I struggle making goals. And I was on a workshop last week, and someone was saying like, yes, this is what you cover your bills, but what's all this other stuff that you want? Like, have you got debt to pay off? What do you want to put? And then like make a monthly cost for all that type of stuff as well. So that's what I've been working on this week, but we haven't quite got there yet.
So it's really interesting for you to start looking at, what have you got to earn to cover the bases, yeah?
Mm.
And, going back of what you said in the construction industry, a lot of people don't realize this, but the construction industry, there's only 5% in it, yeah? There's
Mm.
5% profit in it. So when you start looking at, yeah, they might turn over 4, 5, however many million, but there's only
Yeah.
5% in it. And it's so if, for example, their contract goes over, there's going to be clauses in there where the customer's going to claw back. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I'm
yeah.
really shocked.
Yeah. So again, a lot of people say, well, I make all this money, but what are their costs? Yeah.
Mm.
And is it that you've set up in business and all you're doing is almost like, like the post office scandal, funding the gaps? Yeah. And are you actually funding the gaps because you're not setting these financial goals properly and aiming for these financial goals? We all believe in manifesting, yeah, but setting these financial goals is all part of the manifesting. So it is a matter of, okay, what is stopping me laying down these goals? Is it that you think, oh, just going to have to work too hard? What is it? What is it that's stopping you laying down the financial goals? Is it that your business model doesn't work? Yeah. And again, about 20 years ago, I trialed setting up a network where people could work together and collaborate together and put bids in together. And for somebody passing business to somebody else, they got 8% of the deal. And a lot of people were just mind blown by it. They said, I don't make 8% in my business. And I said, well, you don't have a business then, do you? If you can't make 8% of a deal, you haven't got a business. So say, for example, if I found an accountant, a client, and they were going to pull down some funding, I'd get 8% of the deal. Yeah. Well, why wouldn't I get 8% of the deal? I'm doing the work and making the connection. So it is a matter of, do you know how much profit you make? Do you know what these overheads are? And when it all pans out, how much have you got to make it worthwhile? Yeah. What's the point in you just picking up 5%? So say, for example, going to Lynn. If Lynn was doing a delivery, say, for example, hypothetically in schools, yeah? And this is how it works, okay? And I'm sorry to be sort of gender specific, but sometimes as women, we're afraid to say, oh, I'm going to charge £1,400 a day. Yeah. You're going to be thinking, I wonder how much Lisa charges, how much Althea charges, I wonder how much Ellen charges, I wonder how much Lorna charges. I'll go lower than them. Because if I'm the cheapest, then obviously they're going to choose me. Yeah. So as opposed to thinking, hang on, what's the budget for this? Yeah, it's teacher inset days. They used to be £1,400 a day. Yeah, so I'd be thinking, oh, £1,400 a day. I won't be thinking, oh, if I go in at 250, yeah, I'm going to get a day's work. They'd probably look you at 250 and think, oh, she can't be very good, yeah, because all the top people are charging us £1,400 a day. Yeah, so it is a matter of, is it ourselves? Can you imagine now what it would be like for you, Lynn, if you'd gone into a whatever, the daily budget was say 1,400, and you'd gone in and all you'd done is made your 5% because you think to yourself, well, I'm happy with my 5% because it covers my bills. Would that ever happen?
I've really struggled with this. And when I was working with the schools is slightly different because that they not got budgets. So it was like, this is how much we've got, what can you do? But I'm still making most of that is profit because there's not a lot of outlay.
Yeah.
But when I did the pitch for the other work, the more corporate work, I had no idea. And I did it at one cost. I think I did costed it out about £500 a day. And my friend said, you're nuts. You need to do. So I pushed it and did £600 a day, and they bit my hand off. And I really could have probably added another £400 and £500 a day on top there.
So it's really working out what somebody is going to expect to pay for a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, it in some ways it's almost like having some inside knowledge because, as you say, your costs are low. Yeah. But it's almost like as though sometimes we forget. Okay, the cost must be low, but how long is it taking you to train to have those qualifications to do what you do at that level? Yeah. How much does that cost you? Yeah. So it is a matter of saying, hang on, I've got to understand what the market can take on this.
I really struggled with that. Really, really struggled. And I asked a few people, but people were really reluctant to say anything. People that I know that do that kind of work. It was really difficult getting anybody to say, well, this is what I charge. So I was kind of left a bit high and dry. And if you've never done it before, just no idea, and I am making money out of it. And so that's okay with me. And it's been my first year. So to be honest, my financial goals was just make a bit more than I would have if I was working. And I've done that. So I'm pleased with that.
And it was so funny when I worked in the enterprise agency, I had a discussion with these trainers I brought in to do a conference event. And one of them said, oh, do you realize, she said, I've charged you a really cheap rate today for this conference event. I've charged you £350. And I should be charging you double that. And this other lady then chipped in and said, well, even if you doubled that, it wouldn't be enough to pay for my normal daily rate because I'm at £850. And then this other lady chipped in. She said, well, I feel you're really cheap because I'm £1,250 a day. And I said, well, I'm really excited for you all because I'm having time in lieu after Christmas. So it is a matter of working out, okay, well, it's a great start to think of what's my daily rate? What is my daily rate? Because it's got to be an accumulator, isn't it? There's got to be an accumulator on this daily rate. And you're probably going to have a daily rate at different rates for different things. There could be some outward facing daily rates versus, production daily rates. So be really interested to know. Let's start there. Let's start with daily rates. Yeah. So Lorna, what's your daily rate? Well, how could you work out your daily rate? Because you're going to have different daily rates. There's the photo shoot. There's going to be almost like the editing. There's almost like different rates for different things, is there?
Yes, there is, to be honest with you. I mean, if we were hosting a workshop, so if we were training a professional photographer one-on-one, then yes, we have a daily rate for that. But with regards to shoot, we work on averages.
Yeah.
So
okay, and that works for you?
At the moment, yes. I mean, we're very transitional, the ideas we've got going on with the business. Averages, I think, work.
Okay.
Very much so, yeah.
And I can remember when I first started up in fashion design, we had no clue how to cost anything. And the only thing because people used to come in with their magazines, Vogue magazines or whatever, and say, can you copy this? And we'd always say yes. And we'd always have to start at £1,000. And the only way we could work out if we'd gone too high is the person would blink. That's all we knew. And when they blinked, it'd come down in price.
This is the thing, Cheryl. I mean, when I was an interior designer and I was designing hotels, I remember I used to try and outprice myself out of projects I didn't want to do. And the irony was the one in Charing Cross I definitely didn't want to do. I doubled. It's the old story, but I doubled my fees. And they said, when can you start? It's like,
so it's really weird, isn't it? Working out what is this daily charge, and sometimes it's working out, what are you worth? What are you worth? What do you think you're worth for a day?
And for us, Cheryl, I mean, we can do a very simple headshot branding shoot for £125. We can do a beautiful fine art sort of, montage for a client at £2,500, £3,000. And that's why, it varies so much in terms of the product.
Yeah. And sometimes when we're starting off, we think, oh, because I'm just starting, I can't charge that much. But remember, it's your skill and experience and you're alongside other professionals. It doesn't matter how long you've been in business. It doesn't matter if your business is a side hustle. You still got to be out there pitching yourself alongside your fellow professionals and then scale it up because, instead of working out, well, how many days am I going to work a week? And, start setting some goals and start setting them so that they're goals that you've got to work towards. Don't take the easy route, otherwise you won't be inspired to actually aim for them. So let's get some really challenging financial goals. Like, who would have thought, that somebody, we won't say somebody like Rachel, because we know Rachel, so we know she's going to do it, yeah? Would use a simple planning sheet like this and set herself a target to go from just going on to LinkedIn and in 12 months put together a plan for an additional 2-3 million to come into the company just using LinkedIn. Yeah. But it was a plan. So it's a matter of, fail to plan, you plan to fail. Yeah. So it is a matter of, okay, what are these financial goals? So I'm going to come to you then, Ellen. Going to put Ellen right on the spot now. So what are these financial goals? If you've got somebody in your team, somebody on your side, where you've got no excuses why you can't, what could you do you think?
Well, if you put it like that, I suppose, the goal would be consistent 10K a month would be a good place to be. I've been writing down a little bit of figures because my plan is getting my business. I've got different streams of income coming in, right? And you've only got so much time to put into a business and getting revenue and leverage from that. So I'm looking at businesses where I can put less time in and making more money than I would exchanging hour for time, right? So putting all of these together, sorry, I'm waffling now. So this year, if I reach, say, 5K a month consistently, and then by next year, I mean, if this online course, weight loss course, kicks in, I could reach 10K a month by the end of the year.
Okay.
Because it's all in the beginning and starting, and and pricing is another thing I find difficult as well. It's like throwing a figure out there and hoping it sticks and works.
So
Yeah.
think of your language now. You said, if I put the online course out there, it should be when I put the online course out there. Yeah. And also, can you imagine a fisherman turning up at the edge of a river with no fishing rod? Yeah. So he's never throwing out the rod to catch the fish. It's just stood there thinking, willing the fish to jump out of the river into the basket. It ain't going to happen. So it's a matter of, are you going to go out fishing? Yeah. Are you going to go out fishing? And if you remember, I might get this right or wrong. I'll have to ask Natasha about it. Right at the beginning, she was working with women to get them to 100K turnover, to have their 10K months. Am I right on this, Lisa? Can you remember, Natasha, right at the beginning, she was encouraging women to have their 10K months?
Vaguely.
So again, it's starting small. And when I first went self-employed, I set myself the target of replacing a part-time, what I lost by going, because I went part-time first into business, and I wanted to make up what I lost in a part-time salary. That was my goal. And then, within 3 months, I'd made up my part, and I thought to myself, oh, I just got to go self-employed because, I can't make money doing this. So I would like you to put down, what are your financial goals? And just estimate what you think these financial costs are. And are there funding gaps in order for you to do it? And if there are funding gaps in, say, month 1 or 2, then arrange this overdraft facility or some sort of funding gap, because it's going to stop you actually hitting the goals that you're quite capable of achieving. So then the next question, how are you going to do this? It could be through increasing new customers, but also it can equally relate to retaining existing customers. And start thinking about, what are you going to create new products? Because I know, Ellen, you're going to switching between menopause, and you're switching between weight loss. So is it that you're having to create new products and new markets, or is it about retaining your existing clients and upselling or cross-selling? So, but the how, you need to start putting your actions in. What are your actions? So what are your actions to increase new customers? Yeah. So it could be very different for Lynn compared with Ellen, because Lynn, it could be increase new customers who are just having those conversations with people she's delivering to right now, who know of other schools or schemes that need your service. Yeah. But what they're going to do, they're going to go to your website as well and read your case studies. So it's not as though you can do without technology, but you might need it to work for you in a different way. You might need some really in-depth podcast interviews on a website, whatever works. But it's almost like, let's make our mind up what we're going to do. So when it comes to Ellen, it's probably going to be, some hard-nosed email stuff going out, a sales funnel going out, social media posts going out. So it's going out in a different way. And then your market's going to be very different, Lorna, isn't it? As far as, okay, based on if you're going for new customers and how you're going to create these new products and new markets. But it's up to you to create your actions. What are your actions going to be? So can I come to you, Lorna? What are your actions going to be if you were to set some goals down? Would it be increasing new customers, retaining old customers? Are you going to create in new products or new markets, or a mix?
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything actually that you just described there. I think definitely in terms of markets, oh gosh, I don't want I could talk and talk about this. It's a mixture, because we've defined now who we're going to be working with. In terms of new markets, we're going to be selling our work, which is exciting. That's a new market for us, but also the charity work that we're going to be moving into this year as well. That's another new market. So it's not a kind of one line answer on this for me, Cheryl.
And perhaps you'll need these different sheets for the different things that you're doing. Yeah.
I think so. I mean, I've certainly not got as many things, me, I'm sort of, ideas left, right, and center normally. So I've got my manifest page now down to some very, very specific goals and markets and routes that we're taking for this year.
Fantastic. So I'm going to move on. So you've got some notes to put down on this. So this second sheet is all about, okay, could you do some mergers and acquisitions? A lot of people are just buying up business or merging some schemes with other people. Is it something you can do a collaboration with somebody to do with something else? So in I Am Woman, it's very much a merger with other entrepreneurs to help our members get access to some pretty incredible advice. So, that's really a merger. It's not that I'm doing this I Am Woman Dragons on my own. I've brought in some super smart people who I can serve in other ways in order to bring in the expertise into the I Am Woman Dragons. So is there a merger you can do perhaps with another organization that can help extend your reach? So same with, I connect with the Institute of Leadership for my online program. It's very much a merger of ideas. Are you trying to do all the heavy lifting on your own? Should you be merging with somebody? Is there a professional body you should be doing more merger with? And then start thinking about how can you cross-sell one product to a customer so say for example, I'm doing this online thing to do with emailing, and I discovered the person's written a book. So I thought, oh, I'd like to get the book. So again, have you got your book? Yeah. So that when they come and do something with you, you've got something else to sell them. They're going to be going around your website. Is there enough things for them to buy? Sorry. So Ellen, they might come on your website for the weight loss program, but they might be thinking, oh, I've also got the menopause to deal with. Hang on, there's a book on this, or there's a journal on this. So what is it that you can be upselling? Again, Ellen, because you're selling online training, is a matter of saying, oh, we could actually have Ellen in to come and speak to blah, blah, blah. Oh, has Ellen actually got on her website that people can employ her as a speaker for the day? So again, what could she be upselling? So the same with Lorna, yeah? So for example, I think Lorna's company, so even though we all know Lorna as the art of the fairy tale, I know Lorna as the amazing when it comes to taking people's photographs, when it comes to brand positioning. Yeah, I would never have anyone to represent my brand other than Lorna, but she comes over as the art of the fairy tale. So there again, on Lorna's website, does it say that she can do amazing branding reshoots for people to incorporate all sorts of stuff they might want incorporated into the photography. So, and the last one on this sheet is, have you got your sales funnel set up? So, and do you know how to do your landing pages? Do you have email campaigns running? And do you have social media campaigns running? Otherwise, are you in business? You know, people see that you're in business. And it's been really interesting thinking about these sales funnels, and I've got them on a separate sheet, to start thinking about, okay, what am I doing on that sales funnel piece? Yeah, have I got anything running? And it's really fascinating, and Lisa knows a lot more about this, when you start thinking about, if I'm to put up a sales funnel and giving somebody something of immense value to them for exchange of their email address, and then it's thinking through, what do my customers want as a download that they would actually exchange their email for? What are their problems? What would be a tool that's really useful? And then thinking about, there's no point even doing a sales funnel unless you've got your next thing ready to sell. So say, for example, with Ellen, she could say, you know, could do a checklist working out, are you obese? Yeah. Or are you going through the menopause? And the next thing is the online training. Yeah. So you've got that next thing to sell. So is your sales funnel set up connected to the next thing that you're actually out to sell? Yeah. So, because so many of us go online and we download something, we think that was really useful. Yeah, I could have a look on the website. What else is this person doing? I don't know if you want to chip in there, Lisa, because I'm only doing it from a user's perspective. You're the expert on this.
I don't think that's right. I think it's like, you know, funnels are just giving people little tasters and things like that. Like I done that course the other day, the Learn Dash course. So what I done is that we created like a course planner, so you can plan all your course out first. And then that was like a freebie, and then they get like automations then saying like, you know, have you planned your course? Do you want to take the next step? Do you want to build it? This is our paid for course type thing. So yeah, I think that, you know, it is got to be something that's related to what you want to sell, which is why I've got loads. Like I've got an audit checklist that leads into like a website strategy session, or I've got like plan your website that leads into my creating your website course. So I've got lots of different ones, but like you said, it's got to be, you've got to want to sell something after it, not just give out random freebies and that's it. Like
Leading to, you know, all of us buy a map or put in some sort of grid reference in the car because we want to get somewhere. So it is about thinking, it's pointless having a sat nav if you don't need it in your car, but we, you know, we need to lead our clients. So start thinking about, you know, when I came from fashion, we always had Monday was our R&D day. So what are you doing as far as, you know, R&D in your market? What are you doing? And what are the problems in that market? The networks you belong to, what are they? And are there other networks you should be belonging to or attending, because that's where that potential client is? So say, for example, I'm CIPD qualified. I very rarely go to a CIPD meeting, but that's where all the HR people are. So say, for example, if Ellen wanted to get into corporate, she really wants to meet all the CIPD people who manage all the training in corporates, yeah? But I very rarely go because that's not really my bag these days. But nobody asks me, what networks do you belong to, Cheryl? And can I come there as a guest with you? So, you know, we all need to be aware of who are each other's guests. Who could be a guest coming with me? And could I go to some of your networks that might be really interesting? Offer up, you know, to share. And start thinking about the professional memberships you belong to. And are you working those? I just went to an Institute of Leadership event because I have a professional membership with them, and I met loads of people, yet it isn't what I would call my point of reference for networking. So how many professional memberships do you belong to as part of your qualifications? And are you working those professional membership get-togethers as far as could be link selling, upselling, or just to meet people. So say, for example, the Institute of Leadership, if anyone goes through the Aspire program, they then become a professional member of the Institute of Leadership. But I know there is not one person so far in the last course I just ran that actually went into the Institute of Leadership's online network, which is global. So again, thinking, am I just in some ways making my world too small? I'm not actually getting out enough and really using my networks, professional networks, you know, the local networks, or it could be the networks of other people. And this is a lovely one that Rachel has, you know, what's the dream pieces that you want to work on? Who's your dream client you'd love to do a bit of work with? You know, and are you actively working on that? Who are they? So I would love to have an interview with Stephen Bartlett, yeah? So, and Karen and I are forever talking about, oh, Stephen Bartlett, Stephen Bartlett, Stephen Bartlett. And then she rang me and she said, do you want to go and see Stephen Bartlett? I've got 2 tickets and 2 VIP tickets for his drinks reception. I said, I'm there, I'm going to see Stephen Bartlett, because it's a dream approach. But sometimes unless you share that dream approach, people won't know about it, will they? So it's really thinking about, okay, who are my dream clients and who's close to those dream clients that perhaps could help us, yeah? So I'm going to quickly take us onto the sales funnel, and then I'd love to take your feedback on this. So can you see this sales funnel checklist? All right, come on, stop share. Can people see this, the sales funnel or not? No?
No.
I'll share again. Okay, share. Uh-oh. Oh gosh, I can't see anything on here. So I'm going to have to stop share. I'll pop into oh, it keeps going to oh, I can't do it. I know why it is. I know why it is. Okay, so it's in your side box. So if I bring it up on my screen, you've printed it off in front of you, yeah? So you've got it. So I'm going to pull it up on my screen. So this sales and marketing funnel checklist. So again, it actually takes you through all the things to start thinking about if you're going to be popping up a sales funnel. So it start thinking about, okay, am I getting clear on who my customers are? Do I know who they are? You know, are they one thing or another? Because you need to decide which one are they, one or the other. Are you clear on their problems? And are you clear about how you can solve their problems and why? How are you clear in your own mind you can solve their problems? Are you clear on what your products are? Are you clear on your pricing? And can you develop this lead magnet to the above customers? And then have you got somebody like Lisa in place to load this lead magnet on your website? And after they clicked on this website, have you got the landing page set up so that this sales funnel can start moving? So have you got the product in place to upsell from the lead magnet? And then have you got the ability and the discipline and the continuity there to diarize 3 weeks of social media posts and themes to keep feeding the funnel? And start thinking about, okay, what's this email campaign going to look like? And setting up this email trail of emails as touch points to then transfer this person from the lead magnet into what you're going to be selling them next. Can you follow through? Have you got an automated calendar in place so people can start having one-to-ones with you? And have you set this the financial goals for the campaign? So if you're going to run a campaign, how much money do you want to make from it? And then evaluate, you know, spend some time working out, you know, which are the best social media platforms for which kind of approaches or which kind of sales funnels. And then think about targeting particular sectors. You know, you can use Salesforce in LinkedIn in order to target the particular sectors, and start thinking about how you're going to measure and evaluate the conversions. Can you make necessary adjustments? So tweak it as you go, and then start thinking about, you know, what were the conversions and how did it work out financially? and then start working on sales magnet number 2. Yeah. So it's a great checklist to go through to actually start thinking about, okay, how am I going to take myself and my business through this process? I'm going to shut that down. So I'd love to know your feedback on this. I know Lisa had to sort of pop out because she's got an appointment. So Lorna, from this morning's tables that we've been through, when we start planning the marketing and sales and our approaches to it, I'm coming to you, Alfie. I haven't forgotten you. I'm coming to you next. So you can get prepared because I'm sure you've got some brilliant ideas. So Lorna, what are your ideas of using these tables, getting planning, getting sort of pen on paper, setting some goals? What would you be choosing to do? What are your ideas?
I feel like my brain isn't switched on today, ladies. It really isn't. I don't know, with this Monday morning after a weekend shooting. I like the idea. The main thing that's hit me here is the fact that I've got these various ideas that we're working on, the various things that we offer, the services we provide, is actually, instead of constantly trying to think of everything as a whole, is actually to bring everything down into section by section and do one of these exercises for each.
Yeah.
I think that's what's helped me enormously here, is just the realization of, to sit back and do it in a much more structured and organized fashion.
Yeah.
That's really good.
But it's almost like when you melt them all together, you can't see them separate anyway.
Yeah.
It's just too much, isn't it? Because they're all need different things.
But exactly. And, with the different things that we do, everything is different, although it's all, it revolves around photography. It's so many different facets. So this is going to be a strong tool. I can see that.
Great. Thank you, Lorna. Over to you, Althea. So what's your feedback? How might you use these tables to get planning, setting goals? What ideas have you got to share? Oh, you're on mute, Althea.
I'm on mute. Yeah, no, I was just saying, I do have a sort of figure per month that I want to make and that I'm working towards in terms of goals. I do have the cost of my costs in terms of time, because I have to share, I have to use that in order for me to price for the people that I work with at the moment. What I'm finding is I probably need to break down my cost a bit, just so to help me understand where my cost is in the different activities that I do, because I've done quite a few different things for people all around digital marketing. So I build websites I write texts, I do copywriting, I have done a campaign for someone. So I think the idea is to getting that cost right. Am I totally correct on that costs? I think that's what I wanted. I think that's what I would look into and really seeing how I can sort of refine that, because I think that's just a ballpark figure. And it may be that I'm either sometimes undercharging or overcharging. Right now, I'm working on a campaign with a brand, with a marketing agency, and I have to sort of add with it my pitch, my cost, and I need to break that down to show them what the cost is in terms of the campaign and what I'm going to do with the campaign. So I think that's what I would say in terms of understanding the detail of your business. I think it's to get that finite space of your cost, not just you have a figure, but how do you come up with the figure? I think that's very important. But I just wanted to add, Cheryl, you talked about the sales funnel, and then you went down into your customer journey, and then you went down into what are you offering in your scheduled post and whatever. But I think at the end of the day, and I'm sharing my digital marketing knowledge, if you don't get your keywords right, you will struggle to find the customers who actually want your service. Because these days in digital marketing is about linking with the people who actually want your service, not talking to everybody who doesn't have nothing to do with you, don't want your service. I've done a bit of getting an email address. You don't want to spend time talking to them. You want to spend time talking to the people who actually want your service. So SEO is what does that to you after you've done all that work to get you to be in conversations, engaging with people online who actually want the service that you have offering? Because obviously not everybody will not want the service that you have offering, or
Yes.
me or you or anybody else.
Yeah, really, really fascinating point there, you know, just to be so critical when it comes to, you know, the SEO. So, you know, again, if you've got website landing pages, it's being really specific about what this landing page is for, where does it sit, and what is the SEO that you want to run through that, because it's going to be set up just for that funnel. And then it's just making sure, you know, are you writing the keywords in the landing page? Yeah, it's more than just talking about stuff. It is this making sure the SEO is right for that. And everything you then do, you know, connected with it. So just being crystal clear about joining up the dots here. Crystal clear. And also, you know, what made me, what I was also thinking is about all those hidden costs we forget if we're doing something. So say, for example, if you're designing a program for somebody, they've got to pay for the design time. So if they want you to attend meetings on part of what it is that you do, that's got to be factored in time. So I can remember going back to fashion design time, when people ordered a dress with me, they would have to pay for the whole bolt of fabric. Yeah. So a bolt of fabric then was 26 yards. If somebody ordered an evening dress from me, they paid for the 26 yards. I wasn't going to be having that fabric sat on a roll on my shelf, because I know that would actually absorb a lot of profit. So it's being really critical about, okay, what actual costs are involved in doing this for somebody? Yeah, and all of the costs have got to be put in, and then you realize perhaps what you're charging isn't enough, or are there different ways of actually running the project? But it's so critical. After you've run a project, you make money, not like a builder would do, where there's only 5% there, and if they go over their contract, the money's clawed back. Yeah, it's a bit like The Apprentice. You know, they do the away days, but if they're not happy, they pull back some of the money. So just be super careful when it comes to costing. So thank you, Althea, for that. So Lynn, over to you. You know, what light bulbs would you like to share with us from this morning? What are you thinking about for your business?
I'm thinking I need to get my act together, to be fair. And as I'm going through the lists, I'm thinking, oh yeah, I could put that there, I could put that there, but then what about this? So I think like Lorna, maybe having to look at one thing at a time and work it all through. I tend to start and then leap off into something else. And because I see it all the same, it's like I'm doing the same thing, just in different ways. There's no definition, and there definitely needs to be a definition as to like who I'm targeting and why I'm doing that, and what I'm offering. So I've not really seen this funnel stuff before. So I'm kind of thinking, oh, right, okay, I can see. And I sign up to everything. My email's always full of stuff. I don't really know what I sign up for. So I get it now. I get what that's all about. But yeah, I think I just need to sit quietly and write things down and like, you know, this is what I offer, like all the things to do with that, and then something else and something else. I think I need to do that and not jump around.
Perhaps even blue tack it on the wall and give yourself certain times of the day to go back to it and just keep reflecting on it.
Yeah.
Keep scribbling on it, you know, and thinking about, oh, this relates to that, this relates to that. You almost need like a month with it on the wall to keep fiddling around with it, and then make it a working document. It's really
Yeah. Maybe
thinking.
you could use some sticky notes I could use
Yeah,
to move things about.
yeah, great idea. Over to you, Ellen. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So over to you, Ellen. What have been your ideas or realizations?
I find the whole sales funnels and all of that overwhelming. So it's just because I don't know the how it's done. So it's finding out the how really, and who can help, isn't it? Lisa, I suppose, is because it all sounds like, whoa, okay, I have no clue how to do that. So I need to understand how can I do it? Who can do it for me? How simple it is. And because it's all new, right? Never done it before. So it's understanding how that works. That's what I need to go into, I think.
and perhaps watch some stuff on YouTube, just almost like a, you know, like a skin of an onion. You know, watch a bit of YouTube stuff, and then you'll think, oh, I learned that from that video, and then watch another, oh, I like that approach. And almost like sometimes I think it is overwhelming and we need this stuff drip fed. Yeah. Just all too much to take on board all at once. So yeah, it's just big topic themes, aren't they? Big topic themes. But I thought this morning would be nice just for us to sit down and just do the planning bit. Just think, this is all about me, yeah? It's all about you, it's all about us all. Just putting pen to paper and putting some stakes in the ground, say, this is what I'm aiming for. And then start, you know, playing one off against the other and enjoying that whole experience of just planning our way through the year. So I'm sure we're going to be following up on these themes anyway, but thank you everyone for coming out to play this morning. I'll be popping these formats into the Iron Woman Academy page, so you can pick them up from there as well, and I'll pop the recording in. And anything else useful out there, I'll pop that in as alongside it as well. So have a great week, everyone, and look forward to seeing you next Monday. Well, we'll be coming out to play on something else again that's going to make us even more turbocharged, amazing female entrepreneurs. So have a great week, everyone, and look forward to seeing you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, ladies. Bye.
Bye-bye.